Tessa Jowell one day told she'd leap by a coach for Tony Blair. She was perhaps just part joking. Yet, her customer loyalty to New Labour was more than rather than just tactics or climber. She was pro-European and in favour of a blended economy, while both of were deep unfashionable on the leftward. Her faith how Labour should modernise was vehemently detained, counterfeit at the charcoal person of a 10 years of Labour regional militancy. Lady Tessa will be memorable at Westminster as who controlled to be conceptually devoted to her reason out of explicit sect bitter. Tessa Jen Helen Douglas Pilgrim began her lifetime in London in September 1947, the senior of 3 siblings. Love Blair, her was a medium-class household of prudent voters. Her infancy was consumable in Aberdeen, wherever her dad, Kenneth, was a trunk expert at the College Care High School. Her radiologist mom, Rosemary, bridled versus the public snobism of college lifetime, wherever lecturers' wives did not include coffee in the professors' wives. St. Margaret's High School for girls was royalties paying and conventional, sometimes outlined as Scotland's Rodine. Age 14, she saw Stanley Cockpit's movie Spartacus, that excited me extremely in its subjects of Operation Brave Uprising and the valor of the slavery rebellion. She neglected notions of a career in medical and skilled as a psych public employee. A boyfriend withdrawn meet her for dinner at London's Maudsley Clinic. Conclusion: her constructively trembling following and face in an violent patient. She was selected to Camden Justice, presiding its Public Services Board at Fair 25, a norm presenter of Labour sensibilism versus crazy leftward activists curved on confronting in Margaret Thatcher. One day, she ended up coated in chick liver's throne of the story. She fought the Ilford pull-on election in 1978, just to miss Labour's most. It was the lowest 3 weeks of my lifetime, she told, AIM by the domestic front line and the community for the preventive for the future kid, that shipped her pictures of fetuses. The clique as well badgered her, smelly fracas. She'd leftward her at first man, supernumerary Roger Jowell, and was residing in Enterprise attorney, David Mills. They after marital. It was else 13 year up she done it to Westminster, as MP for Dulwich and Western Norwood in 1992. She arriving established to act her portion in the New Labour coup. A brutal customer loyalty to Tony Blair never dull. Friends turned on Margaret Hodge, Harriet Harman, David Blunkett and the Blairs themselves, as someone's who listing of the motion. Peter Mandelson and Alastair Campbell became godparents to her family. In opposition, Blair done her a stick, behavior in a side dominated by northern men. They found her straight, pensive, but in abrupt policy elbows. If down there is who strong in the chamber, she has a nearly unconscious closing on unit, told one resource. Her wedding to David Mills supported for almost 40 years. But his industry sphere 2 times ill corrupt her policy career. She became Secretary for Social Public Health in Blair's at first by the government. A pledge to be the calamity of the snuff production rebounded while it was found how Equation 1 had been taking into account and clearing of a ban on snuff advertisement. It was found how Bernie Ecclestone, Equation A's lug, had sacrificed £1 million to the side. Blair pleaded he was a cute direct type of boy. For Lady Tessa the issue was her man's protection to the business how belonging the Benetton race crew. She just fair kept. 10 years after, other fracas was far worst. In 2006, by now Secretariat of Country for Civilization, Print and Kind of Sports, her wedding came by renovated study. David Mills was charged of one day take cash of Silvio Berlusconi, the contentious Italian main secretary, in back for unlawfully help struggle corrupt practices extortion. The cash had paid downward the pair's hypothec. Mills violently contested the concoction and would expend fight the extortion. Blair solved Lady Tessa was complimentary of incorrect doing, but she was politically corrupt and the pair separate. Opponents on the leftward thick felt all the was once symbolic of the New Labour draft and its loving case in the ultra-rich. Lady Tessa acknowledged she hoped to recover the relation above period. Following she'd leftward office space, she said females time how they were vision every some routinely and had achieved a country of sustainability that I never mind probable. Her division was stunned while she insisted the UK should bid for the 2012 Spartakiada. Down there was a coordinated try to say her out of it. She sold out it to Blair in a 7-minute meet on the Downing Road veranda, in spite his actual reservations. While London won, following a heroic advocacy force, supply bring down to her. By the overnight of the discovery right, Labour was out of office space, though she had remained a key term of the organised board near Seb Coe and Jeremy Search. She passing to the arena on the unavoidable red London bus, just for the motorist to get desperately loose. Boris Johnson and Ed Miliband teased her as they crossed the identical devious for the tertiary period. But she recognized how magic overnight as the top spot of her career. Necessarily, her policy celebrity waned following Blair leftward office space. She never had the identical proximity in Gordon Tan or Ed Miliband, though no one dispensed in her generally. She leftward Westminster at the 2015 general poll. Lady Tessa fought difficult to be Labour's applicant for London mayoress in 2016. She had top hopes. The Spartakiada had been effectively brought as Secretary for London, she had processed the ramifications of the 7/7 bombings so, left shut to the families of lot victims. She won the largest votes of side members in the at first circle of vote. But amongst recorded supporters, who could now pay £3 to voice, the largest new Labour applicant was so beaten by both of Sadiq Khan and Diane Abbott. The winds of changing were blast via the side. In May 2017 she was on her way to offer a speaking on Certainly Begin Families Centres, one of her proudest artistic achievements as a secretary and one she would herself allocate. She got in a cab and abruptly found she couldn't say. 2 days after she was undiagnosed in an uncommon shape of marrow carcinoma. She knew the prediction wasn't nice. She could just include the transactions and expect. After, in a driving speaking to the Building of Lords, she named for adaptable testing. If one treat wasn't work, she reasoned, patients should be capable to try thing various, though if it hadn't been completely proven. The risks, she told, see various if the watches tick versus thou. In the end, which gives lifetime importance is not just how it is lived, but how it draws to a shut, she told. To a permanent applause Lady Tessa cited the recent speech of the lyricist Seamus Heaney. Nali Timera, importance, do not be frightened. I am no, she told, frightened.